If you have a very short trip that you are going on, one that's going to last maybe 2 days, 3 days over the weekend, then I have some really important tips for you to keep in mind so you can go without forgetting anything and making sure that you have a good time and that you are productive during the trip by keeping these things in mind. This is the Efficiency and Organization YouTube channel. On this channel, everything is about being organized, efficient, productive, well-planned, so that way you can live as productively as possible every single day of your life, accomplishing a lot more than you ever thought possible. So let's talk about short trips and how you need to prepare for them. First thing is weather. So let's say you're going to travel either by car or train or plane somewhere. You want to check the weather 1 week in advance and then like 2 days in advance to make sure that whatever articles of clothing and shoes you're taking with you are going to be appropriate. So for example, if I'm going somewhere that's going to rain, I'm probably going to take an umbrella with me. But if I'm going somewhere where it's going to be super warm, I'm probably not going to be like packed with jackets and hats and things like that. So number one thing is check the weather. Number two, have a plan depending on how you are traveling. For example, if I'm going on a plane, I know that 24 hours before I need to go on the website of the airline and I need to check in. But I probably don't need to do that if I am going on a train or if I'm going to drive a car. If I'm going to travel by car, I'm going to make sure the day before I fill the car up with enough gasoline. That's going to be a big concern. And if I have an electric car, I need to make sure it's fully charged. So those are things that I would do in my mind preparing for the trip. So depending on the type of transportation, plan accordingly. Next is packing. Make sure you use a checklist. That has saved me a lot of stress over the years because I have a very well-developed checklist that I use for the trips that I go on. So for example, if I have contact lenses that I use, if I have a retainer that I use, these are things that I commonly would forget if I didn't have a checklist to follow. So I have my list, I put it on top of the closet door, downstairs, and then the day before when I'm packing, I make sure that I put check marks as I go. So that's a really important suggestion that I want to pass on to you that you could try also. If you want to get my checklist, it's just a Word document. Please be sure to let me know in the description, say, can I have your checklist? And I'll be sure to get it to you. But I do need you to ask for it so then that way I know who to send it to. The important thing with the checklist is once you make it, make sure it's like a Word document or an Excel document, something like that, so that way you could save it to use year after year. Okay, next one is have an agenda, like an itinerary for what you're gonna do. Obviously, if it's going to be like a weekend getaway where you're going to want to relax and really like that's what everything is going to revolve around is eating and relaxing. But if it's going to be a trip where you need to get something done and you want it to be as fruitful and productive as possible, then you want to have some kind of a plan for what you're going to do in the morning, starting with what time you're going to plan on waking up, to what you're going to eat, what time you're going to get there, how you're going to get there. So just kind of have an itinerary developed in your head for those few days. And the last one is after the trip. Just reflect on what you need to do differently if you have to go back to the same place again or for your next trip. So for example, would it have helped you to have taken a book or a few magazines to read on the trip? If so, then you know for next time. Would it have helped you to take some cash rather than just the card? How much extra cash would you have needed? So it's really things like that. Make sure you reflect after the trip so that way next time you do it, you are even more prepared. If what I'm sharing with you is helpful, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because everything I have as far as the content goes on here, as well as on the website efficiencyandorganization.com, revolves around being well-planned, achieving goals, being productive, being efficient, organized, so that way you can achieve a lot more in your life. Till next time, I'll catch you in the next video.